I feel like I accepted the riskiest order as a DoorDash Dasher, and I did so for the very first order of my shift. This order, it's a stacked order from Five Guys and Chipotle. Now, there is a $2 peak pay bonus here, so $19 payout for 2.1 miles. What makes this so risky? Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike. This channel is dedicated to your success in this gig economy, the side hustle. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. And for the best accessories for any niche in this gig economy, visit my Amazon storefront, that linked down below. Do you see it yet? What makes this so risky? It's not the payout, it's not the distance, it's the restaurants. Five Guys and Chipotle, two restaurants, at least here in San Diego, that have proven, order after order, that they take longer to have the food ready for pickup. Let me know down below in the comments if you feel the same way, but if you didn't know, if you're driving on DoorDash, that's something that's very important to consider, is how efficient are these restaurants. So with Five Guys, now shout out to them, they want that food fresh, so a lot of the times they will start preparing it once you arrive. Now I did see in the app for this Five Guys pickup, it actually said the food is being prepared while you're on your way to the restaurant, but in practice, or just based on the backup of orders that they get here at Five Guys, that's not always what I see. And I ended up waiting at least 5 minutes at that restaurant. And then you combine that with Chipotle, another restaurant that gets a ton of orders, at least here in San Diego. Let me know in the comments if you agree here, but that's a risk for wait times at restaurant number 1 and restaurant number 2. So tonight I'm driving in the Mission Valley market segment, of course, on a DoorDash, on that $2 peak pay bonus. I mean, the payout was fantastic. That's in part why I accepted this one, why I took the risk and pretty much knew I was gonna have to wait here. Next order request from Popeyes, $9.25 for 7.9 miles. What do you think about this one? Look at the restaurant, look at the payout, look at the distance, and look at the location. Now this one I did decline, really for that last reason, which is location. It's sending me west, it's sending me outside of my scheduled zone, which is important on a DoorDash. And then the dollars to mile ratio, how much am I getting paid for the miles driven, isn't ideal. Okay, well, next order request. What about this one from Rutford's Restaurant, $6 for just 1.1 miles. Now that's obviously a pretty good dollars to mile ratio. So if you're driving and you see an order like this, especially a really strong dollars to mile ratio, you may be tempted to take this. And if you did take it, frankly, that's not necessarily a bad decision. But I actually declined this one as well, again, rolling the dice. It is okay to roll the dice and take some risks sometimes if you know your marketplace. Because I waited and then I got this request for working class for a much higher payout, $11.25 for 3.8 miles. Now, yes, the first order, it was shorter and frankly, it had a higher dollars to mile ratio, but there's some balance here when it comes to strategy because I want to make as much money as possible and I want you to do the same when you're out there driving. So yes, it was a super short order. It was for $6, but I also want to cash flow a little bit more because this order, it still has a strong dollars to mile ratio. It's still keeping me in my scheduled zone, but the payout is much, much higher. And great confirmation that we're in a busy zone. We got a stacked order. This from the Pokey Company for $8 for just an additional 841 yards. That's ideal. And some great results on one of those drop-offs, a $10.88 tip. Next order from Dragon Cuisine, $10 for just 2.8 miles. Look at the distance here. It's another short order. It's an under 3 mile order for $10. So the strategy here, if you can ping pong back and forth from busy zone to busy zone, that's ideal. And then the density of being so tightly packed with restaurants, homes, apartments, and condos, that should hopefully minimize your distance as well. And really just happenstance combined with good customer service, if it is a handoff delivery, this one, a $20 tip. So now that we have some leeway with our earnings, we've had the stacked order, we've had 2 very solid tips, we can accept this one. Empanada Kitchen, $9 for 4.8 miles. Here's another great example of an order that I would decline. This one from Colima's Mexican Food, it's $7.50 for 7.2 miles. If there is close to a 1-to-1 on the dollars to mile ratio, if I'm driving for X amount of miles and it's the same amount, X amount of dollars, I would decline those. Because we're on the bonus here, remember, the $2 peak pay, and it's been shown that it's busy enough because we got the stacked order and there's higher paying orders. And this one is taking us east. So again, decline. Okay, what about this one? Little Caesars and Baskin Robbins is a stacked order for a solid $16 for a fair 5.8 miles. Note if you're not familiar with what a red card order is. So on DoorDash, you'll have your pre-authorized red card that you're going to use on some types of orders. Those are red card orders as shown here. So on one or both of these orders, I'll have to either place the order myself or simply pay for the order myself using that red card. Let me know down below in the comments, do you take orders like these? Do you take red card orders? Are they pretty seamless, or are there some delays when taking red card orders? Now for me, for my strategy, I like the miles here. I certainly like the $16 payout, but I declined this one just for any delays with that red card. I passed. I was getting close to the end of my shift here because just 5 minutes later, I got this one for Rutherford's Restaurant, this time for $9 for just 1.5 miles. So staying in those busy zones, which is a cornerstone really of driving for DoorDash, and then taking calculated risks. Taking the smart stacked orders because I accepted that first one, but then I declined that second one. And then number 3, just smartly declining orders. We saw the one that took me west, we saw one that took me east, and then we saw some that just simply didn't cash flow enough. So with great risk, hopefully comes great reward. Let's find out. Let's look at the numbers. So this shift in San Diego in the Mission Valley Market segment was from 5:30 p.m. until 8:15 p.m. The total gross revenue with those monster tips with the $2 peak pay bonus, an impressive $87.13. One of the best shifts in recent memory here, that is $31.68 per hour. During this time, I completed 7 deliveries. I received 7 tips as well for an average tip of $7.27, largely due to those large tips, a $20 tip and then the $10+ tip. Staying in those dense, tight zones and capitalizing on smart stacked orders kept my business miles low, 23 business miles. And based on my gross revenue, that equals an exceptional pay per mile, $3.79 per mile. Based on those 23 miles, I get a tax deduction of $13.23. So when you're driving, control the controllables, because there's some things like maybe those tips that you can only do so much to maximize tips. But again, control the controllables, accept the best orders, stay in zones that hopefully should give you stacked orders and maximize your income. And if you see especially that it's been a very busy shift, don't be afraid to take some risks. If you got value in this video, definitely drop me a like. And you can also click or tap the screen here for my most recent video, as well as a video recommended for you. And I'll see you in the next one.